Welcome to Man About Danville with Logan H. Gurman, a podcast for Danville, Kentucky and beyond. Conversations with friends, and you get to listen. Brought to you by the Logan Company, a commercial and residential real estate brokerage for Danville and Central Kentucky. 80% Danville-centric, 20% eccentric.
Good morning, Danville, Kentucky. You are listening to Man About Danville. I am the Man About Danville himself, Logan H. Gurman, and you are listening to Danville, Kentucky's favorite podcast. Thanks so much for joining me, whether you are in the car, on a commute, on a road trip, coming back from spring break, working late at the office, on a walk, mowing your yard, working on your taxes. Hopefully you got those filed earlier this week, getting ready for graduation for you or your kids or for your students. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, I appreciate you taking the time to make this podcast a part of your day. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you do, I hope you would consider giving it a like or review or a rating or sharing it. There should be a little share button wherever you listen or a place to give me a rating or a thumbs up. If you would do that, I appreciate it. That helps me spread the word about the podcast. Danville, Kentucky is known as the City of Firsts. We had the first post office west of the Alleghenies, the first open abdominal surgery, the first college west of the Alleghenies. Well, Danville's got another first coming up, the very first Danville ComicCon. And I have the organizer of that event, Scott Ratliff. He is with me in studio here today. Scott do you live here in Danville?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you are a quality control engineer?
Yeah, quality engineer at Corning.
Over at Corning in Harrisburg.
Yep.
And Scott, you are bringing to fruition, to life, the first annual Danville ComicCon, which is going to be held on May 4th. 2024 at the Showroom there at the corner of Lebanon Road and the Bypass. Let's talk about you for a minute. You said you're from Louisville?
Yeah, originally grew up in Louisville, yeah.
And went to UK.
Yep.
And majored in material sciences.
That's right.
How do you wind up majoring in that?
Well, it's a funny story. So I was taking classes for both chemical engineering and material science engineering, and material science was a much smaller class. There were about 20 people in my freshman class, and by the time I reached senior, my graduating class only had 3 people in it. And at the time, I got a scholarship to go into material science because there was so few people. And so that's how I got into it. CCAT, which was an aluminum research company, they gave me a very nice scholarship. And so I worked for them a little bit during my college career as an intern. And then so I also got the intern experience there and then ended up at Corning several years later.
And you've been there for what, how long?
About 12 years.
All right. And you live here in Danville, work in Harrisburg?
Yes.
Married, kids?
Yeah, I'm married. Yeah, 2 kids, 2 girls.
And how old are the girls?
They're 12 and 10.
Are they into comic books?
Not as much as I am.
Yeah, well, it's funny. My son's 19 and my daughter's 13 going on 14, and he could care less, but Adeline will watch a Marvel movie with me much sooner than my son would. But anyway. All right, so what gave you the idea to host Danville's very first Comic-Con? And explain what it is, and then tell us how you came up with the idea.
Sure. It's a comic book convention, so there'll be a lot of artists and vendors and some celebrities that will come in, and they'll talk about their work, and you'll be able to interact with them and look at some of the cool local artists that are around here. I got the idea by being at Comic Cons as a vendor. I have a website, Legendary Bricks, BRIX.com, and I sell minifigure and Lego and Pokemon cards and other things like that. I've got a booth at the Vendors Village here in Danville, as well as the Rags to Riches in Harrodsburg. So I'm familiar with this. I've been set up as a vendor at a lot of these conventions, and there's not been one in Danville. You've had to go to Lexington or Frankfurt or Richmond to see one, and I thought, Danville's a really cool city. It needs something like this, and so that's why I planned this out and hosting it for the first time.
Well, good for you for making it happen. I've not been to one. I know the one in Lexington sells out.
Yes, it's massive.
They sell out all the tickets, and you're out of luck if you try to go day of. You've got to plan ahead to get there. You are pre-selling tickets now?
Yes, tickets are available now. If you go to DanvilleComicCon.com, you can click on the link to take you to our Eventbrite page, and you can purchase the tickets there. You can also purchase the tickets through my Vendors Village booth. So just go in there and ask them for the Comic-Con tickets, and they know where they're at.
All right, this is pretty well organized already. I mean, for first year.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
I'll put a link to your website in the show notes too, so we can click through. If somebody's on this podcast, they can just click through.
Yes, great.
To it. So they're going to be celebrities. Who all's going to be there? Yeah,
so we got some local talent like Brian Sanders, who's a comic artist and author. Craig Bowman, he's coming in. I think he lives in Ohio. He's an artist and author. He's done things like Archie and Friends and Superman and Jughead. Hannah Fearman is a horror actor and director and producer. She's done a lot of things like VHS and Vampire Diaries. Jay Hammond is another comic artist who's worked on Greenhorns and Stray Dogs. And he also has done some trading cards for Topps and Upper Deck. Megan Fisher is an actress who lives here locally. She's appeared on Pawn Stars and The Walking Dead and has been in several Marvel movies as an extra, some of the Thor movies, so that's really cool. And then Ray Kaufman, he's a local comic and novel author. He's written Derelict, which actually takes place in Harrodsburg. And then Catherine Stringfield is a new author. She's written a book, The Mary Luck Tales. She'll be there selling her book and signing and talking about her work. And then Nick Brown's a local filmmaker and author of the Werewolf for Hire series. And Al Snow is a former WWE wrestler and is now working with the Ohio Valley Wrestling up in Louisville. And so he's really interested to have him and talk about his experience in the sports entertainment world.
Now, Al Snow is the head honcho producer of OVW, which is partially owned by Matt Jones, KSR Matt Jones, and they just had a 6 or 8 part Netflix series that kind of blew up. And he's from Ohio and originally like Lima or somewhere. Mm-hmm. So that's the name that jumps out to me of all those people, the one that I know of. There's going to be a cosplay contest?
Yes, there'll be a cosplay contest. So come in character. There'll be 3 different categories or 3 different age groups. So 0 to 10, 11 to 17, and 18 and over. And so
there's no senior division?
No senior division, okay. just 18 plus is, yeah. And so, there'll be, we've got a local cosplay celebrity who's going to be the judge. We've also got someone from the Boyle County Public Library who will help be a judge with it. And so, come as your favorite comic book or superhero or anime character. And it'll be a contest. There'll be prizes that you can win, and it'll be in the form of like a gift certificate that you spend at the convention. So that helps our vendors out as well. You'll be given little gift certificates that you can redeem for merchandise at the vendor tables, and so it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah.
There's another guy that's from here. I don't know. Have you ever heard of Kevin Van Hook?
No, I haven't.
He is the guy who created, I guess is the right word, Bloodshot, who the Bloodshot movie came out right when the pandemic started, starred Vin Diesel. I saw it's a really good movie, and Kevin's on my short list of people to talk to because he's gone to Hollywood and made it in the big time. But I think it's really neat when people can get into these creative professions and succeed, and I'm sure he's got a pretty interesting story. So he's on my short list of people to talk to. And I didn't realize there were that many writers and authors and artists right here in the community. That's great that you've got so many local folks coming.
Yeah, a lot of them are local. They, once I posted this on Facebook, I just kept getting people posting, hey, you should invite Brian Sanders or you should invite Ray Kaufman. And, and that's how I learned most of these people is through just other people in the community wanted to see these people at the convention.
Well, that's awesome that you've developed this so much of this synergy just in year one. It's going to be at the showroom, which is a great place to have something like this. Nice and big, plenty of parking, all that stuff.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of parking. We have sold out of all the inside booths, so we're moving some booths outside, getting some outdoors, so there'll be some food trucks there as well. and some outdoor booths. We'll actually take all 3 spaces of the showroom. So the big area in the front will have all the vendors. Behind that, what they call the bay, will have our cosplay contest and some attractions that'll come in, like the Ghostbusters and the Mandalorians from Star Wars. And then in the chapel will be a lot of those celebrities that I mentioned. They'll be set up in there, and you can go in there and get their autograph and a picture with them.
Is there going to be a minister on hand in case anybody wants to get married in costume?
No, I can't. I can't promise a minister on hand. No.
Well, maybe next year. Yeah,
Maybe next year.
We'll work on that for next year.
Yeah.
So, are you a comic book nerd from way back?
Yeah, I enjoy comic books. I enjoy the movies more. I'm more of a movie than the reader, but yeah, I love the Marvel movies, Star Wars movies. Yeah, I'm a big nerd like that.
Are you more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy?
I think most everybody is nowadays. Marvel's just done such a better job with the movies than DC has recently.
You know, everybody loves Batman.
Yeah.
Superman is so overpowered; he's not entertaining. Mm-hmm. The Avengers movies were great, but I was always a big X-Men fan growing up. I wish somebody could give the Marvel Avengers comic universe treatment to the X-Men properly. I know Sony's made the movies and they're fine, and Hugh Jackman's great. Yeah. But the X-Men movies are just nothing compared to the Avenger movies, in my humble opinion.
Right. I agree with you, yeah.
Who are some of the vendors that are going to be here, Scott?
Yeah, so we'll have lots of comic and toy vendors, vintage toys, new toys, Pokemon cards. We'll also have someone from Wired Dice Goblin. This is a really fun character. He paints his entire body green for these events as a goblin, and he has these great dice holders and dice things that he does. I made 3D printed and then painted. They're really, really cool. Jane Jewelry, Jayne Jewelry. She's a new vendor she's just started, I think, this year in Danville here, making jewelry and show. So she's got some special comic book themed jewelry that she's going to come with. Make Us Believe card game. It's a new card game that I haven't heard of, but I'm really interested to learn about it and see how to play it. And maybe, get a first edition deck of cards that they have. Yeah, lots of local artists as well. Lion Around Sewing, which makes wonderful plush toys and pillows and hats, and there's a really cute thing. She's been for several years. She's been at Lexington Convention and other conventions. I've seen her around it, so she's great. Megan is her name. Paint parties by the local paint parties store here, and then Plaid Elephant Books is going to have a booth as well.
Yep, no Kate. Kate does great stuff.
Yeah.
Are there going to be activities for kids or non-kids?
Yeah, both kids and non-kids. Yeah, so we already talked about the cosplay contest. There will also be a Pokemon Go tournament. Okay. So if you play Pokemon Go, you can come in and sign up for the tournament, and you'll do a PvP battle.
How does that work? Do you bring in your own card deck?
Well, that's that for the Pokemon Go. It's on your phone.
Oh, okay.
So just bring in. It's the app. Yeah. There will also be a card game, Pokemon Card Tournament. Now, those are where you buy a deck from the venue, and then you make a deck from the cards that you get.
So it kind of levels the field for everybody.
Right,
so
exactly. Yeah. So everyone starts with the same box of cards, and they make the best deck out of it and play with it that way. Yeah. So we will have a Pokemon TCG tournament. There will also be a trivia contest. We'll have like Star Wars trivia, Harry Potter trivia, Marvel trivia, and so that'll be really fun to see if you can test your trivia knowledge in those categories. And then we've got some special guests with the Mandalorian Wolf Pack, the Ghostbusters. We got some costume characters, superheroes that'll come in, and so you can get your picture made with them. That'll be a lot of fun. You see these a lot of big events, bigger conventions than this one, but they've shown interest in coming to Danville, and that back room where all this is happening is going to be packed with all this cool stuff.
How long have you been working on this?
About a year. Yeah.
This is jam packed with stuff.
Yeah. It might be too much from our first year. Yeah.
Well, I'm impressed that you've got this much different content going on all on a single day here. You're going to be exhausted by the time this thing's over with.
Yes, it is one day. Some of the vendors have told me that they prefer one day shows because it's they don't have to worry about travel or they like
Don't have to get a hotel for the
or stuff like that. And so we'll try this for one day and we'll see how it goes. I think it'll be a success. And then next year if I'll talk to the vendors after the show and say, do you want to do a 2-day show next year or keep it a 1 day? And so we'll see if next year's is different. But this year's a 1-day show on May 4th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now we're having 2 sessions because the showroom has a capacity limit, and I'm hoping to sell out, so we'll hit that capacity limit. The first session, Session A, is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The second session is from 2 to 6, and both sessions are almost identical. They will both have their own cosplay contest, their trivia contest, the Pokemon contest. Each will be in each session, so you don't have to worry about showing up to the right session. The only thing that'll be different will be the panels. The Session A will have a panel on cosplay, and Session B will have a panel from Nick Brown on werewolves in cinema. So that'll be really cool to see.
Werewolves in London and the Shining. It's the Howling. I can't think.
The different depictions of werewolf characters through cinema, and he's done some werewolf films as well. So it'll be interesting to see what he talks about.
The Walking Dead started as a comic book, didn't it?
It did, yes.
Any of those guys going to be there?
Megan Fisher was actually an actress on The Walking Dead.
Okay.
She was as like an extra in costume. So she was a zombie.
Okay.
But she was on that.
Did they film all that in Georgia? They filmed a lot of it in Georgia, I think.
I'm sure they did. Yeah, Atlanta has a huge incentive. Atlanta incentivizes a lot of film production there.
Well, cool. And the Walking Dead guy is from somewhere in Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He's from eastern part of the state somewhere, I think. So, how many different Comic Cons have you been to, roughly?
I'd say maybe 15 as either an attendee or a vendor. Yeah.
The biggest one, the Comic Con's out in San Diego, right?
Yes.
Ever been to that one?
No, never been to that one.
What's the best one you've ever been to?
Actually, the best one I've been to, and I've been to it about 3 or 4 times, is at the Jessamine County Public Library.
Really?
And it's a 1-day show in October. They do really well. They put that on. They have a lot of these same people that have come in, and I've met them at that show. And they really advertise it well, and always my sales are good, and they're really organized, and so I'm trying to replicate a lot of what they're doing with their show, just because it's so impressive. So that's where I'm trying to copy a lot of what they do to make the Danville show.
So you're kind of doing the spring version, let them have the fall version.
Exactly, because they're only 30 minutes away, so we'll be talking to the same people.
I like innovative people. I like people trying new things, and so when I saw this, I immediately thought that's a podcast episode. Yeah. So I'm so glad you came in to talk to me, and I think this is great. Just a completely different kind of thing for Danville. My buddy Adam Johnson, he did a board game convention one day that was through the Arts Center, and then the pandemic hit and never was able to do it again. And I think he got busy with work and stuff. But these kind of events are great, and just something a little different here in our community, and doing it for the first time. This is awesome. I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, it's May the 4th. I chose May 4th because May the 4th be with you. So we got to have a lot of Star Wars theme, Star Wars Day.
Pi Day was a weekday, so this is perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so you've chosen May the 4th for a reason.
Yes, 2 reasons, actually. So May the 4th be with you, Star Wars Day, and so we wanted to have a lot of Star Wars things at the convention. That's why we're having the Mandalorians come in with the Wolf Pack out of Western Kentucky, and so really excited to see them. And also that day is also Free Comic Book Day. And so since there's not a comic book store in Danville, Danville people don't have a place to go get their free comic books. So you can come to the convention. Everyone who comes into the convention will get a free comic book to the first 1,000 attendees, which it looks like we'll have plenty of comic books to pass out. So come in, get a free comic book on Free Comic Book Day, May 4th.
Now, where do you get do the publishers give them to you, or through stores?
This is actually not the official free comic book. This is, normally the official free comic book for Free Comic Book Day is from the publisher. They sell them to the comic book stores at cost, and then it's one of their biggest sales days of the year. So this one is actually comics from my personal collection. So these it will have several different boxes of comic books that lined up, and you can just look through them and pick out the one that you want
from your own personal collection.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I dare not ask how big your collection is.
It's gotten a lot bigger since I've been doing this.
There used to be a comic book shop in Danville. Is it gone?
It's pivoted to Cosmos is still here, but they mostly focus on Magic the Gathering, and they do some musical instruments, and they will also be there at the convention. Cosmos will be at the convention. Yeah.
And food trucks. Who are your food trucks going to be?
Yeah, we've got 2 food trucks coming. One's Holy Smokes Barbecue. They're local. And then the other one is coming from Louisville. It's Mama Rose Cajun Hotspot. So we'll have Cajun and barbecue as your options. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's run through the details again. It's May the 4th. That's a Saturday.
At the showroom from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The address of the showroom is 2405 Lebanon Road here in Danville. You can get tickets at the door. You can get tickets from DanvilleComicCon.com, or you can get tickets from the Vendors Village in Danville.
And you can say you'd either get morning session, afternoon session, or VIP ticket for both?
Yes.
Well, Scott, I wish you all the luck. This is sounds like an awesome event. I'm so glad you're pulling this together. It sounds like it's enormously well organized. So I wish you all the luck, and May the 4th be with you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
My thanks to Scott Ratliff for joining me, the organizer of Danville ComicCon. I'm going to links up in the show notes so you can just click right through to get tickets and more information about the event. It's www.DanvilleComicCon.com, DanvilleComicCon.com. So go check that out for more information about the event on May the 4th. Do you need to get in touch with me either about the show or real estate? You can find me on my website, ManAboutDanville.com. You can email me at ManAboutDanville@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram. That's where I like to do most of my stuff, at ManAboutDanville. I'm on Twitter, or X as it's now known. The handle is at ManDanville. Facebook, ManAboutDanville. You can find the podcast just about everywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, even YouTube, even though it's just a picture of me with the audio over it. You can use your Amazon Echo device. Just say, "Hey, Alexa, play the podcast, Man About Danville." If you have a moment, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, give me a rating, or share it to your social media to help spread the word about the podcast. As always, thanks for listening. I think I'm going to have another episode out next Friday, so watch this space. Be well, have a good weekend, and thanks for listening.
That's it. We're out. Thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Subscribe to Man About Danville wherever you access your favorite podcasts, and be sure to tell your friends about us. You've been listening to Man About Danville with Logan H. Gurman, brought to you by the Logan Company, a commercial and residential real estate brokerage for Danville and Central Kentucky. Know someone who would be a good guest? Want to be a guest yourself? Have an idea for the show? Get in touch with us. Find all our contact information on the web at ManAboutDanville.com. Thanks for joining us.